Starting your own business can be kind of scary. You gotta sit down and think of a business plan. You have to come up with the property where you're going to build your business. You have to put in the elbow grease to actually get it off of the ground. Even if you plan thoroughly, even if you have a good business concept, even if you have the willpower and determination to make it happen, a business means nothing if you can't get people to come to it. On today's episode, I'm talking to a young entrepreneur by the name of Reece Brown, who had an idea and a vision for an athletic club in Scioto County. Scioto County is not the most physically active county, and there are struggles and hurdles that Reece is working to overcome, but he's doing a good job. He's carving out a vision of a beautiful outdoor space that can have healthy implications for an entire region. With any luck, Reece will be a trendsetter in the area, and he'll be able to get other businesses and other like-minded people to follow suit and really help transform the area. Reece was nice enough to sit down and talk to me about his trials and tribulations and successes in starting a place called McChesney Ridge Athletic Club. So sit down and enjoy. Hopefully you'll learn a little something. Nature is the door to happiness.
The things that you see, the experiences that you have while kayaking stand out.
Not only is it people's own personal kind of spiritual experiences that we try to create in the wilderness for people, it's also like this community building thing, right?
There are lots of keys you can use to unlock it.
And like we all got to be Goonies for a little bit if we grew up in the 80s. That was an absolute dream to go find, a pirate's chest full of gold.
Now, as you can tell, we're pretty passionate about catfishing. We could keep talking all night long, really.
Let us help you find your key. Welcome to the 12 Hike Podcast.
Open my eyes, and here's this Milky Way, and I'm looking at this, and like it was an instant reaction. Like I went to nudge somebody next to me because I wanted them to see the same thing I was seeing. I wanted to share that with somebody, and it was.
I'm glad we actually finally got to sit down and do it. That's a little bit of a struggle there.
I really like this setup. This is nice.
It's not bad. It really allows for a lot of flexibility, especially since I'm here in Colorado. I don't know anybody here, so I have to talk to people from back home.
Okay.
I know I talked to Portsmouth Connects, and they're going to do an episode with me. And her first comment was, "How are you going to talk to us all the way in Colorado?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the best thing is it's all free.
Cool.
Yeah, so, heck, for what you're doing, it'd be kind of neat for you to sit down and record stuff and talk about, the athletic club.
Yeah, I like this. It's, because you can only write so much. You can only take so many photos. You can only promote yourself so hard on advertising. So, yeah.
Well, the thing I like about this format is you can talk to anybody and you can talk about anything. So for what you're doing, you've got these ultra marathon runners, mountain bikers, swimmers, kayakers. God knows how many conversations you could have with people, musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's neat. It's just something that I wanted to start doing this because being out here, I don't have any friends yet, so this allows me to still interact with people.
Yeah.
But so far, it's been kind of neat. I like it.
Cool, man.
And it's nice quiet time down in the basement.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about what happened this past weekend, the motorcycle thing. That kind of took me off guard. What happened? What was that all about?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, a friend of mine asked me. He said, "Hey, we scheduled this poker run, and they can't find a venue for it. It was supposed to be at the Stag Bar. There were some capacity issues, so I said, sure, and then I kind of forgot about it. So I was just morning coffee, 9 a.m. Saturday, sitting out on the porch, and then I looked down, there's people setting up for an event, and I said, oh, shoot, that's right. So, 3 hours later, there were 100 motorcycles in the big parking lot, and they all took off around 12:30 on their ride, and about 5 o'clock, the caterer started showing up, the band started showing up, setting up on the stage, and it was just a magical night.
So what was the purpose of the ride? Was it like a fundraiser type event?
It was. I think it was for one of the backpack programs, the school backpack programs in the area. They raised $1,400, I believe was the amount.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah. And it was put on by a group of Masons, and the guy is over the entire district from Cincinnati to Marietta. He lives in Chillicothe, so we had people from all over Southern Ohio, and there were a couple people from Illinois there too, so it was good.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the pictures, it looks like there was a ton of people that showed up.
Yeah, we definitely got lucky, but as a business standpoint, it's just really cool to see that many people there, embracing it, because I feel like every event I try to put on, they're always small. They're fun, but it's always just, we have trouble breaking into that 20 and 30 range. But I think that'll change post-COVID. I truly believe we're going to be one of the hottest venues in the region, especially from a concert perspective. So,
you know what, Reece? After getting out of Soda County and getting some distance from it a little bit, things like what you're trying to do are fantastic, but it seems like getting those people's attention and getting them to really interact with a place like yours is tough. Do you think that's the case?
It certainly is. And I mean, and same here. I moved to Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, and it was being able to step away and finally just, for lack of a better word, lick my wounds and say, yeah, I invested a ton of money there. I put a ton of hours. But now it's time to just get people there as cheap as I possibly can without incurring expenses, expose them to the land, and really try to drive bookings in 2021 and 2022, and just, go with that long-term perspective. And now that everything's built, the goal is, Henry will be out of college. My son, he'll be out of college in 23 years, and just think, wow, what could this be in 23 years?
Quick side note, my youngest kid's name is Henry too. So
that's good. Good name.
Yeah, good strong name. I like it. Before we get too far down the rabbit path of the future, I want to talk about the past a little bit. Let's even go farther back. In high school, did you run track, like cross country?
I ran track my freshman year. I was terrible, but no, I didn't run in high school of any distance. And then just decided to take a distance running class at Shawnee in 2008 and just fell in love with it and walked on the team from there. And yeah, it was.
So in 2008, is that when you think you kind of had this idea of this outdoor place for people to go? Or when did that start?
No, it really 2010 when I was one of the I became a co-captain my senior year of the team, fastest team in school history, by the way, still is.
Congratulations!
And but I wasn't one of them. I was just a leader. But yeah, I just started looking back there. But ultimately, I still had to go to grad school. Did that down at Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina. Just a lot of hiking, a lot of cycling, a lot of just outdoors. Came back home, and it wasn't until in late 2013 that the guy that owned the property was willing to sell. So I didn't get ownership until May of 2014. And
so that's when you really actually got started.
Yeah, that's when and then just immediately just went out with a weed eater and a backpack blower and started cutting trails. I mean, I think it was within 2 weeks of getting that property, just laying the groundwork. So yeah, and that was kind of the goal early on. It was all going to be based on running. And then I never really had the clearest vision per se, other than just, okay, what can I do if a bunch of people get here? And that's kind of like putting the cart before the horse. But so all the landscaping, all the horticulture, all the native prairie designs, I just went crazy and did all that. And then, here we are 6 years later, and it's finally, those wildflowers are well established. The curves are looking nice. And I mean, it's just there's 10 bridges. It just looks beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I was there for some of that early exploration and discovery at PCL. You would come in and you would talk about some of the new trails you were building, the bridges. I know you had Chris Kitts out there, and he built some incredible structures. I mean, the place really, from what I've seen, has set up nicely.
Thanks. Yeah, we got some of those compliments this past weekend. People say, wow, everything looks strong. And I'm like, it doesn't cost much more. If you're putting up 8 4x4s for support, 16 is not going to cost you much more in terms of the project, but it gives it a whole different look.
Yeah, and for what you're doing, I appreciate, and I think you did the right thing. You didn't really skimp on anything. You wanted this place to be nice.
Yeah, it's a weird balance. My wife can attest. We spent a lot of money and time, but in a way, there's still a lot that can be done, but it's just keep whittling after it. And a lot of that's just on kind of brush cutting in the winter. That's a good time to cut a lot of brush. And then in the summertime, just keep it up the best we can.
Did you use any other business models to kind of base McChesney Ridge on, or did you just come up with it?
That's where the poor planning kind of comes in. I just wanted a place that would be good to host people. So, ultimately the old event venue was a driver, but we also tried to do memberships, and we had like 6 annual members and about 5 month-to-month at one time. So not exactly the biggest draw, but still to this day, some of those people, 3 of them were out there this last weekend. They're just really grateful to see it still moving, but it's really hard to balance memberships and rentals and, get a clear plan.
Well, again, that area, the socioeconomic status of that whole region doesn't really lend itself to a membership for an athletic club, in my opinion. There are other things that people want to spend their money on.
100%, and that's why we hosted in 2018 or 2019 March. We hosted Ohio's Backyard Ultra, and that kind of represented that seed was planted back in November 2018. Michael Owen was setting up for the Shawnee 50 miler, and I went out and helped him. And I was like, Mike, I'm going to do all this for you, but can you just